think of a time when you have had a conflict, maybe with a coworker, a family member, or your best friend. Conflicts are inevitable, so what matters most is how you resolve them. Jody Holland is in today to talk about conflict resolution. So Jody, let's start with talking about what we can do to start resolving these issues.
So the first thing you've got to remember is conflicts can either be resolved effectively or ineffectively. They're effective when we deal with behaviors and outcomes, and they become very ineffective when it's about the other person. So your focus has to start off on actually solving the behavior problem, not the people problem. And in doing that, there's really three steps. What's the behavior? How do you feel about the behavior that they exhibited, and what was the measurable impact? If you can't tell what the impact was, then you have just a difference of values or opinions. So behavior, feeling, and impact, that's the start of how you resolve any conflict.
So let's talk about that feeling. Sometimes it's hard to kind of get those emotions out and kind of be that person to say how you feel. So how would you do that?
One of the things that I always tell people is you need to understand what the underlying feeling is. We a lot of times will say, well, I'm angry. But what were you before you became angry? At some point you were embarrassed or you were frustrated. So as an example, let's say you're dealing with a coworker and they're not giving you the information that you need in order for you to file a report that you have to do by 5 o'clock that day. You were supposed to get your information the day before, so you would say, yesterday at 3 when I didn't receive the information from you, that's a behavior without judgment. I was very frustrated, that's your feeling, because it made it where I couldn't get my report done on time. So the behavior, feeling, and impact have to all three go together in order to give an effective confrontation. The next key is really important, though. You have to stop and listen. The reflective listening process tries to hear their side of the story, and then you come back with, well, what is my expectation moving forward? So the acronym to remember it is Be Firm. Behavior, feeling, impact, reflective listening, my expectations. So you put all of that together, whether you're dealing with a family member, a coworker, or even in your relationships, make sure it's about the behavior. If you say yesterday when you were an idiot, you don't get the same response as yesterday when I didn't get the information that you were supposed to give me.
So sometimes hearing the other person's side of the story can be hard because sometimes we're stubborn and we don't want to care what the other person thinks. So do you have any tips to kind of get through that?
A lot of it is just framing it in your own mind. What's your point going into the conflict? Is your objective to put the other person in their place or to make sure that they understand that you're upset? Or is your point to resolve the conflict? If you frame it mentally that I'm here to resolve the conflict and to build this relationship, it's easier for you to lower your emotional temperature and stay engaged with actually resolving things. So the first step is make sure that you frame it right. I'm here to improve the relationship and resolve the conflict. Second thing that I would say is get in touch with what your emotions actually are. Why do you feel the way that you feel? If you ask yourself the question, well, why am I frustrated or why am I embarrassed or why am I whatever, then what you'll find is that you start to change the reasoning for being upset. You make it a little more cognitive, a little less emotional, and it makes it much easier to resolve.
Awesome. So let's talk about your leadership development program that's coming up at AC next month, August.
August, yeah. So I'm very excited about this. This is a 12-month program. It's called Learn to Lead. You can go to Eventbrite and search for Jody Holland, but I'm in a partnership with Amarillo College on this. It is going to be fantastic. You get continuing education credits as well as learning all of the different aspects of intergenerational management, conflict resolution, communication, coaching, time management, ethics, and even more. It's going to be fantastic.
And we have you here on Mondays, but people at home can get their own tips, right?
Exactly. All you have to do is text Jody, J-O-D-Y, to 66866. And what that does is signs you up, and every Monday morning you'll get a 1-minute leadership tip direct to your inbox so that you have a little bit of a way to continue to grow yourself.
Okay, well, Jody, thank you so much. That was a great topic.
Thank you very much.
All right, everybody, stay tuned. Pharmacist Doug is here. Today we're talking about